All right, y'all. We give praise, esteem, and honor to the living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. And let's pick this up in John 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not love of Elohim in you. I come in my Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Shalom, Sister Kelly. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. The Abba, there's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote of me. But if you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Shalom, Tavon. Let's hit this Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, and after that, Revelation chapter 5. Muffin, she asked you to sit. Just follow that instruction. You asked to sit a long time ago. Shalom, Sister Hill. And at that time shall Mikael stand up, the great prince, which shall stand for the children of your people. And there shall be a time of trouble, since there was a nation, even to that same time, that time shall your people be delivered. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, and some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. They that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But you, O Daniel, you shut up the words and seal the book to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. So let's hit this Revelation 5. And 1. And I saw the right hand of him that sat on the throne, a book written within and on the backside sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a strong Malachim proclaim with a loud voice, who was worthy to open the book and to loose the seals thereof. And no man in Shamahim, nor in the rats, nor under their rats, was able to open the book, neither to look thereon. And I wept much, because no man was found worthy to open and read the book, neither to look thereon. And many of the elders said unto me, weep not. Behold, the Lion of the tribe of Yehudah, the root of Dawood, have prevailed to open the book and to loose the 7 seals thereof. So, of course, we're going to look at verse 1 in Revelation 6. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and heard as it was the noise of thunder, one of the 4 beasts saying, come and see. And I saw, and behold, a white horse. And he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him. He went forth conquering and to conquer. So let's go ahead and just knock that one out with that seal right there. Let's go over here to Ezekiel chapter 1. Let's just go ahead and knock that seal on out. Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 1. Go ahead and hit the like button on YouTube, by the way. Ezekiel chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 30th year, in the 4th, in the 5th of the month, as I among the captives by the river Kibar, the Shamahim were open, and I saw the visions of Elohim. And in the 5th of the month, which was the 9th year of Yehoiachin's captivity, Shalom, Brother Ellis. And this is going to be done by the great grace of Elohim. That joint do push that stuff in the algorithm, because, you just have to deal with reality. YouTube control what get out there and what don't get out there, and what gets seen and what don't get seen. And right now, by y'all willing, we closing in on 700. We could have opportunity to be at 1,000 and be able to live stream on the phone at any given time, but the Lord knows. But let's continue. The word of Yahuwah came expressly unto Ezekiel, the priest, the son of Buzai, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Kibar. The hand of Yahuwah was there upon him. And I looked, and behold, a whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud, a fire enfolding of itself, and brightness was about it, and out of the midst thereof was the color amber, and out of the midst of the fire. Also out of the midst thereof came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this their appearance, they had the likeness of a man. And everyone had faces, everyone had 4 wings. Now, see, we get into all that, and we don't need to touch on all that this evening, because we just focusing on that one seal. And for those of you who just slide back in here, let me read that first seal, because that's what I got to deal with before I start talking about that 7th seal and everything that pertains to that. But this first seal in Revelation 6:1, I think, what seal have we done so far? We have done the 5th seal, and we did the 3rd seal. Now, we might come back with the 3rd seal just because I know we ended talking about some things in Genesis 41 as it pertains to that particular famine. And if the Lord allow, we might swing back around that corner. But right now, we're going to talk about this first seal in Revelation 6:1. And I said that, then I let the page go. And when I saw the Lamb open one of the seals, and I heard it with a noise of thunder, as one of the 4 beasts saying, "Come and see." And I saw, behold, a white horse, and he that sat on him had a bow, and a crown was given unto him, and he was forth conquering and to conquer. So, of course, this is dealing with Mashiach and him conquering. So, this being unsealed and him being able to see that, because it was for the time of the end, which is why he say that to Daniel. A lot of people think the unsealing of the book is us knowing we Israelites and things of that nature. That's trash can doctrine, to say the least. Let's come over here to Ezekiel chapter 1. I'll give you verse 15. I'll run them all down. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. And now as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with his 4 faces. The appearance of the wheels and the work like unto the color of beryl. And they 4 had one likeness, their appearance and their work, as it were a wheel in the middle of the wheel. Now, of course, I read in the beginning of that Ezekiel chapter 1, he says he looked in the great cloud, fire enfolding of itself, brightness as the color of amber. And I just want you to come over here and screw it. Hebrew chapter 12. I could have went to Deuteronomy, but I'll just read it out of Hebrews. It ain't gonna hurt nothing. Hebrew chapter 12. I give you verse 22. But you will come unto Mount Zion, and to the city of the living Elohim, Shamahim, Yerushalayim, and to a innumerable company of Malachim, to the general assembly and the synagogue of the firstborn, which are written in Shamahim, and to the Elohim, the judge of all, and the Ruachs of just men made perfect, and the Yahushua, the mediator of the new covenant, the blood of sprinkling that speak better things than Abel. See that you refuse not him that speak, for if you escape not him, not who refused him that spake on their rats, much more if we turn away from him that from Shamahim, whose voice then shook their rats, but now he have promised, saying, yet once more I shake not their rats only, but also Shamahim. And this yet once more signify the removing of those things that are shaken, as of the things that are made, that those things which cannot be shaken may remain. Wherefore, we receiving a kingdom which cannot be moved, let us have grace, whereby we may serve Elohim acceptably with reverence and godly fear, for our Elohim is a consuming fire. Now, just for your information's sake, you can come to Deuteronomy. Let me see. What is it? Chapter 9? Nah, it ain't chapter 9. It's Deuteronomy chapter 4. Deuteronomy chapter 4. You can pick it up at verse 16. Shalom, bro. Deuteronomy 4:16. Lest you corrupt and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that on their racks, the likeness of any winged fowl that fly in the air, the likeness of anything that creep on the ground, the likeness of any fish that in the waters beneath the earth. Lest you lift up your eyes on the Shamahim, and when you see the sun and the moon and the stars and all the hosts of Shamahim, and should be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahuwah your Elohim have divided unto all nations under the whole Shamahim. But Yahuwah have taken you and brought you forth out of the iron furnace, out of Mishraim, to be unto him a people of inheritance, as this day. Furthermore, Yahuwah was angry with me for your sakes and swore that I should not go over Jordan, that I should not go into that good land where Yahuwah your Elohim give you an inheritance. But I must die in this land, and I must not go over Jordan, but you shall go over and possess the good land. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, which he made with you, and you make you a graven image, the likeness of any, which Yahuwah your Elohim have forbidden you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is a consuming fire, a jealous Elohim. Now, see, we ran all that down because you're dealing with the aspect of idolatry. Shalom, Misha. You're dealing with the aspect of idolatry, which, of course, when it's coming down to the end with the beast, that's what it's about, because he's going to make an image. And can anyone tell me, what will that image have the ability to do, which would be unlike any other idol ever made in the history of mankind? What will that idol have the ability to do? That is one of them. Yes, it will speak, but there's also something else that you're leaving out. No, that idol will not have the ability to understand dark sayings on that one, good sir. What will this idol have the ability to do? No. That is the false prophet. It seems that nobody has the other part of the equation. So, no, he will not resurrect either. Let's go. That's only one of them. Let's go over here to Revelation 13, because y'all forgetting the most important part. I'll pick this up in Revelation 13 and 11. Nah. The idol won't blaspheme either. The beast will blaspheme. The beast will resurrect. And the beast will understand dark sayings. But that idol will do more than just speak. Let's take a look. Let me refresh your memory. Revelation 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of their rats, and he had two horns like a lamb and spake as a serpent. And he exercised all power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he do great wonders, so that he make fire come down from Shamaim on their rats in the sight of men. And he deceived them that dwell on the earth by those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. So the part that we left out is that the beast's image will be alive. See, let me show you why that's important so you can remember. We talked about this plenty of time before. Come look at this Psalms. Y'all should remember this. Psalms tell you so you don't fall for that when the beast pulled that off. See, we know the word, so we shouldn't be falling for that. Ain't that right? Psalms 115 and 1. Not unto us, O Yahuwah, not unto us, but unto your name give esteem for your mercy and for your truth's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where now their Elohim? But our Elohim and Shamaim, he have done whatsoever he have pleased. Their idols, silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes they have, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have they, but they smell not. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they through their throat. They that make them alike unto them, everyone that trusts in them. O Yasharal, trust you in Yahuwah, he, their help and their shield. So Psalms 115 is let us already, it doesn't matter what this idol do. It doesn't matter that it's alive. It don't matter that it speaks. It don't even matter that it got power to kill. We know that anything made with man's hands is but an idol. So I can't say this definitively, obviously, but me just having good common sense and knowing the word, Shalom Shaul, I would put money on that when the beast calls this idol to live and him having understanding of dark sentences, I would put any amount of money that he'll go to Psalms 115 and say, see, I can't be not of God, because he said idols can't talk, and look, mine talking. He said idols don't have life. Well, look, mine's alive. And no matter what he do, you supposed to know, well, that was made with men's hands, boy. I ain't going for that. I don't give a damn if your idol do backflips. I don't give a damn if your idol impregnate the soil. I ain't going for that. You know what I'm saying? This is why I always impress and impart and push and try to place into your mind continually that you must know the word. That is the only way that you will not be deceived. Because these people going to pull stunts, they're going to make moves, and if you don't know the word, you're going to go for it. You're going to go for it. And all this stuff that individual talking about, boy, it's not protecting your soul in that day, boy. Because let me show you something one real quick, like, man, just on general principle. Revelation chapter 3, man. And then we're going to go swing right back to Ezekiel chapter 1 where it was at. Because there's certain things that pertain to the seventh seal and the vials that I would prefer to start this evening. But if that's the Lord's will. But if we don't start it, if the Lord allow, we'll crank off into it. Because, yeah, I'm skipping to the seventh vial, seventh seal. Yeah, I'm skipping to it. You know what I'm talking about? Because that's what I want to do. Where I was going at? Yeah, Revelation chapter 3. I pick you up at verse 7 on general principle. And to the Malachim of the synagogue in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is Kadash, he that is true, he that hath the key of Daoud, he that opened and no man shut, and shut and no man opened. I know your works, and behold, I set before you an open door, and no man can shut it. For you have a little strength, and you've kept my word, and you have not denied my name. Behold, I will make them of the synagogue of Hashatan, which say they are Yahudim and are not, but do lie. Behold, I will make them come to worship before your feet to know that I have loved you. Because you have kept my word of patience, I will also keep you from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. You understand? See, that aspect of coming down to whether to worship the beast or not, that's the day of temptation that's coming to try everybody. See, that's the manifestation of Deuteronomy 13 in real time. You know what I'm talking about? And just for those of you, if you don't know what Deuteronomy 13 say, let me take you around that corner. Let me show you. Deuteronomy chapter 13. 13 and 1, if you would. Deuteronomy 13 and 1. And if there arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and give you a sign or a wonder, and that sign or wonder come to pass where he spake unto you, saying, let us go after other gods, which you have not known, and let us serve them. See, the beast is a god. You don't know him. You don't remember what Daniel said, that this man is going to serve? Let me show it to you. Because I need to I need you to understand why this man coming through to conquer. You understand? And what he conquering for, and what's the rhyme, and what's the reason. Shalom, Jay. I need y'all to know. Some of y'all already know. You know what I'm talking about? But it ain't never going to hurt for you to know some more. Dang, I just forgot where I was going to go. I lost my train of thought. Oh, yeah, I'll go in Daniel. Praise the Lord. Daniel chapter 11 is what I desire. Daniel 11 and 36. Daniel 11 and 36. And the Malach shall do according to his will. He shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, for that is determined shall be done. So that's the something that you also got to understand also, is that the beast is going to prosper and gain until that indignation is accomplished. Because see, we have some twisted thought process to believe that what Yahuwah, and y'all hear me say this all the time, that what Yahuwah has to do is contingent on man. And I heard this lady say something, and she wasn't referring to the word, but now just understanding the aspect of how she was referring to how women get told certain things. The indignation, for those who would like to know, is Za'am, which is anger, indignation. Zayin, Ayin, and Meen. You know what I'm talking about? So until the iniquity has come to the fool, this man is going to prosper. So we live in, and especially just mainly dealing in America, because I can't speak for the rest of the world, but we live in such an egocentric, self-centered, you know what I'm talking about, entitled society that you think and believe that everything Yahuwah does, he does it for you. And she was just referring to something about how young women are told, like, hey, a man's supposed to serve you. He's supposed to do this. He's supposed to do this. He's supposed to do this. Like everything that this man is supposed to do is supposed to be. So a lot of times when you hear men say, nah, I don't do things for women exclusively, they think that something is wrong with him, because this is the type of mentality that people have been given, like a man's supposed to live his whole entire existence to the benefit and the pleasing of the opposite gender. So then we begin to equate that everything Yahuwah does is for us, and it's not. It's not. Everything that he does for his own will, his own pleasure, and his own righteousness. Like straight up and down. You got to get that through your head. This ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, of course, I tell y'all about Ezekiel 36 all the time. This man said, I don't do this for your sake. I do this for my great name's sake. He said, I'm not doing this for you. He said, let that be known. You need to be ashamed of everything you got going on, because I don't do this for you. I do this for my name's sake, because you got people out here thinking the name of Yahuwah something to play with. You know what I'm saying? So you get it twisted, because that the love that Elohim encompasses, and because he manifested that love to us, because he would be faithful to the word that he swore to our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You have allowed yourself to believe. You have deceived yourself through your own carnality, through your own self-delusion, through your own selfishness and borderline narcissism, to think that what Yahuwah does, he do for you, which is why John the Baptist had to tell them people, do not think to say to Elohim that you are Abraham's seed, because Elohim able to raise up seeds to Abraham from these stones, man. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It's about him. That's why that song said, I will only make mention of your righteousness. It is about him. That's why a lot of brews find it offensive when you say, no, the whole book is not about Israel. And if you think the whole book is about Israel, you a special type of stupid. The whole book is about Yahuwah. The book is about your maker. You're a bit player in a story about your maker. That's how selfish and prideful that we have became, and allowed trash can teachers to lead us to believe that the book of Yahuwah is about us. That's how stupid we've allowed these men to make us, to really believe that Yahuwah manifested a word about us when it's about him. And I know that's going to offend people and chafing people's craw. And frankly, I don't give a damn. Because it's about Yahuwah. It's always been about Yahuwah. It'll always be about Yahuwah. And it'll never not be about Yahuwah. Because we need Yahuwah. Yahuwah don't need us. We need salvation. Yahuwah don't need salvation. We need redemption. Yahuwah don't need to be redeemed. You know what I'm talking about? There is nothing. Of course, y'all should know the Psalms 50. That man said, if I was hungry, I wouldn't tell you. He said, I ain't never asked you for no sacrifices. This man don't need nothing from us. Everything we have come from him. The very breath in your lungs, as you watch your chest go up and down, the very breath that at times you take for granted. Not understanding that he the one that put the breath in your lungs, and one day he gonna take it back. You get your life from him. He don't get no life from you. You get your power from him. He don't get no power from you. There is absolutely nothing that you can do for this man. Nothing. So to think that the word is about Israel, that's trash can teachers who don't give a damn about your soul. That's going to have you around here self-centered and going straight to hell, because it's about Yahuwah. It's about the son of Elohim. That's what the book is about. And then his work towards man. And that's what you should be esteeming in. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But this is what I'm training in tomorrow. So that's that. Now, Monte say this Gator stuff making his eyes hurt. You know what I'm saying? Well, write a letter to Florida State and tell them to get down with Jordan Brand, and we can make a move, because that's what I would prefer. But they, I think Jordan ain't gonna let another Florida team on them. They already got who they got. They got Florida. They got Oklahoma. They got North Carolina. They got UCLA, and they got Michigan. Ain't it crazy that Michigan was the first football team? I take that back, because North Carolina was just basketball. You know what I'm talking about? But nevertheless, you know what I'm saying? You got to think about that, man. That's what it's about. Listen what this man say, man. Verse 36, though. And the Malach shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against the God of gods, and he shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished. For that is determined shall be done. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. See, a lot of people will read that and say, see, he gonna be gay. But then, of course, you have to remember, Hamashiach didn't have no desire for women either, because he had something to accomplish. See, let me tell you something too, which is also an aspect of this society, because this society is entirely too focused on sexual gratification. You know what I'm talking about? That in the mind of most men, because you've been conditioned this way through the insults and shame of most women, that if you have a mind that you are completely and totally and 100% engaged on accomplishing your objectives, and that sex is not at the forefront of your mind, that you have to be some type of homosexual or something got to be wrong with you, because you're not accustomed to dealing with a man who is not controlled, nor moved, nor ruled by his lusts. So that is a foreign concept to you. That doesn't even register in your brain. And the reason why a lot of women, and I'm not, this is no disrespect, this is just the reality of life. The reason why a lot of women will shame and insult a man who moves in this fashion, because they know that they don't have anything other to offer this man than sexual gratification. So when they can see that this man is not controlled by his lust, and that the opportunity to pleasure himself in the orifices that her body contains does not move him or stray him off of his objective, she will try to make him feel bad about himself and try to insult his manhood as a means to get him off track. Now, of course, this is dealing with mid and low level women. This is not representative of a woman of a higher stature and higher caliber. You know what I'm talking about? But most women, that's the only thing that they have to offer based on how they're raised in this society. I can't speak for the rest of the world. I'm just talking about this society that we currently live in, because that is how we're raised and that is how we're instructed. You know what I'm saying? That you spend from the time of age 16 till you damn near in your 30s, going from person to person, having meaningless interactions and using your body as somebody's personal playground. You know what I'm talking about? And then as you begin to age, now you want to begin to have something serious with another individual, but you don't know how to do it, because that was never a priority for you to learn how to figure out how that should be. That's the reality of the world that we live in. You should not be shocked from the outcomes that people have. The outcomes that we're directed, the things that we're directed to do are not going to bring forth the outcomes of salvation and righteousness. That's for certain. You know what I'm talking about? You don't live in a society that promotes and champions being in control of your lusts. That's not the society that you live in. Like I said, I'm not going to speak on the rest of the world because I don't live in the rest of the world. I don't know how their society operates. All I can speak on that is from the outside looking in. I do know this here. They all sinful. Of that I am certain. Of that I can say unequivocally, without a doubt, Yahuwah is my witness before whom I stand. Every kingdom under heaven is as wicked as the sun it shines bright, the sky is blue, and your skin is brown. You understand? But I can speak specifically with this society that we live in, that is a cesspool, a breeding ground of all manner of lasciviousness. But let's continue. Verse 38. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces, a God whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor with gold, silver, and with precious stones and pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with esteem. And he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain. So that's what this man gonna be on. His only objective is to bring honor and esteem to his God, which is the devil, which is what Yahushua's whole objective was, to bring honor and esteem to his God, which was his Abba. That's all he was concerned with. You know what I'm saying? See, and that's the difference also, because when you have a man who's locked in on what he's doing, then as a woman, the only thing that you can do is be 100% committed to assisting him in what he is doing. See, if you don't know how to do that, then you wouldn't be fit to be a righteous man's wife. You couldn't be fit to be a priest's wife. If you're thinking that everything gonna be about you and what you got going on, you're not fit to be a wife at that point. Because a wife is going to commit herself to the will of her husband. And that's it. That's the only thing that matters. See, but you live in a society that has imparted unto you something different. So, and I'm not even dealing with the natural aspect. I'm talking about taking that natural mindset and then coming to Yahuwah. It's not going to transfer, because now you're going to want Yahuwah to care about what you got going on versus you being committed to him. And it makes it very, God bless Brother Langford, it makes it very difficult for individuals to serve Yahuwah with the whole mind, heart, and soul, because you haven't even been trained in the natural on how to do that. So then when you come to that which is spiritual, you're not going to be able to accomplish it. You're going to find it difficult because you think it's going to be oppressive and repressive and going to stop you from fulfilling what you want to do with your life, because you're trying to fit your will into his will instead of fitting into his will and fulfilling that. It's very difficult when you live in a society that imparts that into your mind. Let's return back to Deuteronomy 13. We're also holding Ezekiel chapter 1 and Revelation chapter 6. David Joanne. It's something wrong with you. Who said that? We? What am I going to do with that? Deuteronomy 13 and 1. If there arise among you a prophet or dreamer of dreams and give you a sign of wonder, and the sign of wonder come to pass wherever he spake unto you, saying, let us go after other gods which you have not known, and let us serve them. That's why we read the Daniel 11, because you can see that this man is going to serve a God whom his fathers knew not. Now, of course, when they say whom his fathers knew not, who is it referring to? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's the only person that gets for people who get referred to in that fashion. This is part of the reason, and of course, we don't have time to go through it right now, why we hold the stance, according to the text, that the man of sin will be an Edomite, not because it'd be Esau versus the white man versus the black man and that jackassery that niggas like to push. We're talking about the aspect of the struggle from the beginning between Esau and Jacob, literally. Esau hates his brother literally for the blessing that Jacob received literally. So he's going to want to take out that anger and wrath on him literally. So because Esau has a desire to have the covenant of which he rejected, Abba and Shamahim will allow his seed line to be able to have a short period of time to have that blessing. And in it, he will corrupt the world and kill as many people who worship the true Elohim. That's how that's going down. Because if you know the law, you know this man say, when the time of my mourning for my father is over, I'm going to kill my brother. That's exactly what it's. Why do you think the beast is going to make war with the woman in the remnant of her seed? And those who have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach and keep the instructions of Elohim. Why do you think he doing that? You think he doing it just to do it? There's an underlying envy, hatred, and contempt that is there. That is why when we were looking at the seal, is forth as those who were slain for the testimony of Elohim. That's why we looked at that in Ezekiel 35, because it's the envy. Who can stand before envy? Can nobody stand before that? Envy is a whole nother deal. Envy is a jealous. See, jealous is one thing. Envy is another. You know what I'm saying? You can be jealous of somebody and you don't do nothing. Envy make you kill somebody. There's too many stories in just natural life of people doing that. You know what I mean? But Deuteronomy 13 and 3. You shall not hearken unto the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams, for Yahuwah your Elohim proved you to know whether you love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. You shall walk after Yahuwah your Elohim and fear him and keep his instructions and obey his voice. You shall serve him and cleave unto him. And that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he's spoken to turn away from Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way which Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you to walk in. So shall you put the evil away from the midst of you. Now look at, see this here, right? Let's go to Revelation 19. Joanne. Now you're being a beast. Ain't no Ebedad. Ain't no inner ooh. No inner ooh. Winner. What? Abadarius. What? Okay. Revelation chapter 19, verse 15 is fine. Mm-hmm. And out of his mouth go a sharp, well, shoot, you can make it 14. You can make it 11. But we're going to look at aspects in the prophets that details that this man coming back to kill these people. You know what I'm saying? And to conquer and to take over their lands. And we could spend an ample amount of time looking at David in that regard. I think she done ran away now. And eating off the floor. Yeah, no. Revelation 19:11. And I saw Shamahin open, and behold, a white horse, and he that sat upon him called Faithful and True. And in righteousness does he judge and make war. Now, see, there's something that we can sit back. Shalom. Now we can sit back and we can look at that and dissect that. It's forth of him judging and making war. But you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother deal. But I know y'all willing, we're going to come back to the famine aspect because of dealing with the vials. Because when you see what a vial is, you know what I'm saying? It'll give us a more clear perspective. You know what I'm talking about? And what that means and what that's about. In his eyes, a flame of fire, and on his head, many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the word of Elohim. And the armies in Shamahin followed upon him with white horses clothed in fine linen, white and clean. Out of his mouth go a sharp sword, and that with it he should smite the nations, and that he should rule them with a rod of iron. And he tread the winepress of the fierceness and the wrath of the Almighty Elohim. And he hath on vesture and on his thigh name written, Malach of Malach, Lord of Lords. And I saw Malachim standing in the sun, and he cried with a loud voice, saying to all the fowls that fly in the midst of Shamahin, come and gather yourselves together unto the supper of the great Elohim, that you may eat the flesh of kings, and the flesh of captains, and the flesh of mighty men, and the flesh of horses, and of them that sit on them, and the flesh of all, free and bond, both small and great. See, ain't Yahuwah good? He said, hey, it's Feast of Tabernacles. Y'all might as well come and eat too. And I saw the beast and the kings of the earth and their armies gathered together to make war against him that sat on the horse and against his army. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that worked miracles before him, which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast and them that worship his image. And these both were cast alive into a lake of fire, burning with brimstone. And the remnant was slain with the sword of him that sat upon the horse, which proceed out of his mouth, and all the fowls of the air were filled with their flesh. See, I didn't want you to see in the actual prophecy application of what's in Deuteronomy 13, because those men who worked them signs and wonders got killed expeditiously. Let me read that to you again in verse 5. And why did they get killed? Because they were seeking to thrust you and turn you away from Yahuwah. See, that's the part that we don't pay attention to, right? You so focused on paying attention, talking about the Christian church turning you away from Yahuwah. The Christian church never had you nowhere near Yahuwah. They turned away from Yahuwah themselves. They just repeating bad information. Look at verse 5 one more time. That prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has spoken to turn away from Yahuwah your Elohim, which brought you out of the land of Mizraim and redeemed you out of the house of bondage, to thrust you out of the way which Yahuwah your Elohim commanded you to walk in. So shall you put evil away from the midst of you. So this is the reason why the beast and false prophet is so dangerous, because they're seeking to thrust you away from your God. And by taking that mark, that's what's going to happen. Let's just take a look at Revelation 14, what it say about that mark, what's going to happen to you. Now, it's still that's a part of the vows, but we're just going ahead and deal with it right now. Come on here, 14 and 6. It's in the midst of them vows, but it's okay. And I saw another Malachim fly in the midst of Shamahin, having the everlasting basar, preaching to them that dwell on their rats, to every nation, kindred, tongue, and people, saying with a loud voice, fear Elohim and give esteem to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made Shamahin their rats to see the fountains of waters. There followed another Malachim saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she has made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Let's just pause for a second. Let's take a look at Babylon fallen. Come on over here to Isaiah 21 and then Jeremiah 51. Because all this is pertaining to him conquering and conquering. Yes, Yahuwah does have his own mark in the Exodus Jedediah. He does. And that mark is in your right hand and your forehead. And it's the sign of a covenant. And that's all that Satan is trying to emulate, is for you to enter into covenant with him. And the mark of the beast has not been given. It ain't nowhere near on the earth, because best believe everyone would know it. People around here telling you the mark of the beast is you going to Sunday church. That's pure folly when the whole world don't do that. Isaiah chapter 21. You can pick it up at verse 6. It ain't gonna hurt nobody. For thus saith the Lord, for thus hath the Lord said unto me, go set a watchman and let him declare what he see. He saw a chariot, a couple of horsemen, a chariot of asses, a chariot of camels. He hearkened diligently with much heed. And he cried, a lion, my Lord. I stand continually upon the watchtower in the daytime, and I'm set in my ward whole nights. And behold, here come a chariot of men, a couple horsemen. And he answered and said, Babylon is fallen. It's fallen. And all the graven images of her gods have ye broken unto the ground. O my threshing and the corn of my floor, that which I've heard of Yahuwah of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharal, have I declared unto you. So again, the aspect of Babylon fallen is mentioned in the text in two locations. We about to go to Jeremiah. But the purpose of Babylon fallen is for Babylon's gods to be destroyed. I can believe it too, bro. Let's go to Jeremiah 51. And for those of you who are not familiar with Jeremiah 50 and 51, they speak explicitly about things that's in the book of Revelation as it pertains to the destruction of Babylon. It speaks about it explicitly and specifically. Jeremiah 51 and 6. So I say that because you can't flee from Babylon by moving in the woods, man. When you finna read what he finna tell you, when he tell you to flee up out of Babylon, like Revelation tell you to flee up out of Babylon, he talking about literally leave from a literal place. If you believe America is Babylon, you ain't fled Babylon because you moved in the woods, man. You still in Babylon, jackass. If he planning on destroying Babylon, and America's Babylon, and you say I'm moving in the woods so I can flee out of Babylon, you damn fool, when the fire and brimstone rain down, you still in Babylon. Now, I've told y'all this before. You got to be a special type of stupid to let somebody convince you done fled Babylon because you moved in the woods somewhere, man. Now, if you want to go move in the woods to live set apart, you know what I'm talking about? That's your business. I don't knock you. Do what you feel is necessary. But don't be lying to people, telling people you fleeing out the midst of Babylon because you around here moved in the woods somewhere and think somebody ain't keeping the will of God because they ain't as stupid and listen to your stupid behind nigga. You's a damn fool. That's like say flee out of burning house by running to the house next door that's on fire. Come on, man. You can run that game on another nigga. You're not going to run that on me. When you sit to see, a lot of times when we hear stuff, we don't pay attention to it. To realize that they don't make any sense. That's right. It ain't no escaping if you're still there. Listen to what he said in Jeremiah 51, man. Hell, man. I'll read you verse 5. Shoot, I give you verse 3. And against, well, should I give you verse 1? Because he talking about killing them all anyway. Shoot, shalom, brother. We talking about niggas getting killed. I might as well give y'all up. Jeremiah 51. Thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them and that rise up against me a destroying wind. So remember, right? We just read in Revelation 19 where we're talking about these people rising up against this man. They weren't rising up against Israel. They were rising up against Yahuwah himself. They didn't have to rise up against you. They were already killing you. And will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. Against that bend, that the archer bend his bow. Against lift up himself in the brigandine. Spare you not you, her young men, destroy you utterly her host. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans and thrust her through in her streets. For Yasharal, not forsaken, nor Yehuda of his Elohim, of Yahuwah of hosts, though their land was filled with sin against the Kadash one of Yasharal. Listen to what the man say. Flee you out the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this the time of Yahuwah's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. This is a literal place that he is going to destroy. Now, like I told, well, some of y'all ain't heard it. Some of y'all ain't been around here that long. But for those of you who have, y'all already know this. What you can read in Revelation 18 about Babylon, man, you can read that in the prophets. I remember that too. Mother Sharona. I sure do. You know what I'm talking about? Because a couple of brothers, matter of fact, one, you know what I'm saying? My nigga Quab, he went over there where they was at. He went over there to Egypt with them boys. You know what I'm saying? And I will have to let him tell the stories of his experiences with that. You know what I'm saying? But my man's, he went over there with him. You know what I'm saying? Because I remember them boys selling that, had a lot of people thinking they had to go. You know what I'm saying? See, well, that didn't work because they know niggas couldn't flee out the country. Now they come and tell dude, come back and flee and go live on a homestead and live out in the woods somewhere, and you flee in Babylon. Come on, man, cut the folly. I would just rather individuals say, I just want to live apart from this society and culture and go live over here. But see, here go to killer now. Here go to topper. If you're gonna be set apart, then be all the way set apart. Don't be fooling and middling with stuff on the internet and all this whole other stuff, but then talking about you got to be sanctified over here because you living in the woods. Because if you still got the same thought process doing the same thing that people do in the city, you might as well stayed in the city, man. You know what I'm talking about? Going living out in the woods don't make you no more upright than somebody who don't. You know what I'm saying? But I just say that because that's the type of mind frame that we got in this particular society. That since we over here doing this, we righteous and y'all ain't. Or we growing food and y'all ain't, so we better than you. We vegan and y'all ain't, so we better than you. All that junk sounds stupid. You know what I'm talking about? There ain't nobody talking about being born of God. I just was talking to my man yesterday, man. That tell him saying, man, we so worried about being Israelites when this man said he gave you power to become the sons of Elohim. Don't nobody want to talk about that. Well, you want to be an Israelite, you want to be a son or daughter of God. Which one do you want to be? Because one got power and one don't. You know what I'm saying? Being an Israelite ain't got no power. You just got the oracles of Elohim. Being a son of Elohim, that means you got the power and riches of heaven on your side. That means you got the Father and the Son. Being an Israelite just means you got access to the Father and the Son. You got an opportunity to come unto him. But to be born again and born of the Word and born of God, that means you have become of him. Therefore, you have all in rights and inheritances that the Son of God has, and therefore a name written in heaven and an inheritance in Shamahim. But see, we don't desire or want that, because that means you would have to humble yourself in esteem in Elohim and Elohim alone. You could see when we Israelites, you can esteem in your flesh, you can esteem in your name, you can esteem in your birthright, but you can't esteem in your maker. And see, that don't appeal to us because we don't really want to esteem in our maker as much as we get in front of these people and cap and say that we do. In reality, we don't, and it shows based on what we do. I just seen some other people, and I told y'all this a long time ago, man. They were talking about that love language thing, and people were like, one lady said, how about you just love how God say love and let that go? Because don't nobody want to do that. And I done told y'all that before. I guarantee you, in this day and time, if Hamashiach was on the earth, an individual will tell him the way you love me don't work. Love me according to my love language. And this the love of God he given. And you're going to tell him you don't want that. That's how backwards and stupid we is. That's how backwards and stupid we is. I told you I literally heard a lady say love ain't enough to keep a marriage going. And everything she named was 1 Corinthians 13. Everything she named was love, because we don't even equate godly love because we think love is an emotion. We think love is an intense feeling. We don't even understand what godly love. That's why we don't recognize it when we see it. That's why we reject it when we see it. That's why we don't desire it. And that's why we don't exhibit it, because it doesn't appeal, because it's not self-centered. You know what I'm saying? See, godly love is not a focus on self. And we don't want godly love, because that means the focus has to be on someone other than yourself. And we live in a prideful, selfish generation. You know what I'm talking about? We just like that Proverbs 31. Let me read it to you. Proverbs 30, I should say. And then I'll come back to Jeremiah 51. That's the gist of this. This is it. Even though he could have been speaking to this generation, he may have not been speaking to this generation. But it fit though. Proverbs 30 and 10, or 30 and 11. A generation that curse their father and do not bless their mother. A generation pure in their own eyes and is not washed from their filthiness. A generation, oh, how lofty are their eyes, and their eyelids are lifted up. A generation whose teeth swords and their jaw teeth knives to devour the poor off the earth and the needy from men. Which, of course, you know they did that to the Lord, but we still live in the same way. We ain't washed from our filthiness, and our eyelids are loftily lifted up, and we steady be running our mouth, thinking that Yahuwah is satisfied and pleased with the works of our hands. This man is disgusted and appalled, as he should be. But let's continue. Jeremiah 51. I'm in what? Verse 4? I read verse 3. Oh, I'm sorry, verse 6. I'm bugging. Flee you out the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity. For this is the time of Yahuwah's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense. Babylon, a golden cup in Yahuwah's hand, that made all the earth drunken, and the nations have drunken her wine. Therefore, the nations are mad. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her, take balm for her pain. If so be she may be healed. We would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her. Listen to what he say. And let us go everyone into his own country. Let me read it to you again. We would have healed Babylon, for she is not healed. Forsake her, and let us go everyone into his own country. For her judgment reach unto Shamahim, and it's lifted up to the skies. Now, Revelation 18 say her sin reached heaven. Now, how the hell you fleeing out of Babylon and you in the same state and you moved in the woods? Get your ignorant behind out of here. See, that's how I know you who ain't sunshine. You ain't got no word. You know what I'm saying? See, that's re-rock you selling. You know what I'm saying? See, you got some trash can coke from another dude and you put it in a re-rock machine and you trying to sell it to me. See, the difference between me and you is I know bad dope when I see it and I ain't gonna buy it. You know what I'm talking about? See, a lot of you been used to buying subpar things, so you cool with that. You understand? But this man said clear as day, flee into your own country. Into your own country. Into your own country. That's the end of that conversation. Come on back over here to what was that? Now, why you did that? You messy baby. Come on back to Ezekiel chapter 1. Was it Ezekiel 1? Nah, Revelation 14 where I was at. I know somebody didn't like that. I know they running their mouth, probably gnashing their teeth. I hate that nigga. That nigga a coon. Yeah, your daddy a buster and your mama's a whore. Revelation 14:6. Well, I've been 14 and 8. And there followed another Malachim saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. And the third Malachim followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast in his image and receive mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Elohim, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the Kadash Malachim, in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of the torment ascend up forever and ever. They have no rest day or night who worship the beast in his image, and whosoever receive the mark of his name. Here's the patience of the Chesed. Here are they that keep the instructions of Elohim and the faith of Yahushua. And I heard a voice from Shamahim saying unto me, Baruch the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth, yea, saith the Ruach, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them. Now, this is the key component which we didn't read, but I think we read it the other day. I think we read it when we were talking about the seal with the men under the altar. You have to understand that the beast is going to sit down and teach all those who forsake the Kadash covenant of Yahuwah. See, we have to look at it from the standpoint that it's a covenant, an agreement of who's going to be your God and who ain't going to be your God. So when you're dealing with Satan, Satan wants you to enter into covenant with him. That is why he's sitting down teaching the people to get you to forsake Yahuwah, to come ride with him, which is why you see that in that Deuteronomy 13 about that he's going to kill the prophet and the dreamer of dreams, who caused the people to turn and forget about Yahuwah. See, this ain't no Martin Luther King. He dreamed, nah, man, that's trash can teaching, man. Don't go for that. You got to stop. Sometimes this be serious, man. And I know I be clowning. I might say some things that could be considered to be crass, rude, disrespectful, and some of the sort. I mean every word of it, but also some of it is for comedic effect. You know what I'm talking about? But I also mean every single solitary word. Let that be known. But nevertheless, you have to really sit back and examine the text. The text intersects and comes together beautifully in one, because our Elohim is one, and our faith is one, and our immersion is one, and the body is one. You understand? So when you hear people say certain things and they're trying to interject modern things into the text, you got to really sit back and pay attention to see, okay, am I searching these scriptures daily to see if these things are so? Am I more noble than those in Thessalonica? Are you the men in Berea? Are you searching the scriptures daily to see if that's what it is? Or are you just taking it because it feeds into your desire for a Black Power movement? You know what I'm saying? Is that what you're doing? Because guess what? You could come around here 3 times a week, 12 times a month, as often as we on here. But I'm telling you right now, if you don't search this book after everything we go through, every time you get on this stream, you stupid. You know what I'm saying? And I don't care if you don't think I will lie to you or not. If you ain't go through this text and make sure everything that was said is what the book said, you playing with your own soul and you stupid. You know what I'm talking about? Because it don't matter if you don't think I'm a lie to you or not. It don't matter if you think, yeah, that brother nice, man. He know what he's talking about. He's a this, he's that. That don't matter. You still supposed to go back and make sure that the book say exactly what we went through and it said what it said. And if you don't, shame you. You know what I'm talking about? And that goes for every single solitary last one of you that's on this stream, that's on this app, this Clubhouse app, and who will watch this later. If you do not go back, let me read you this Act 17. If you don't go back and verify if the book say what's been said to you, you are playing with your soul and you slow. You ain't got no business doing that. I don't care who tell it to you. But your God himself told you to search the script. He sat down and showed them men out the book, then told them you better double check it. What's wrong with you? How you just sitting there twiddling your thumb, bopping your head, man? You ain't even gonna check it. That's not cool, man. Acts 17:10. And the brethren immediately sent away Paul and Silas by night unto Berea, who coming went into the synagogue of the Yahudim. These were more noble than those in Thessalonica, and that they received the word with all readiness of mind and searched the scriptures daily, whether those things were so. That's what you better do. I don't care who tell it to you, myself included. You better search them scriptures, make things that those things were so. That's what you better do. Now, how them people able to search the scriptures to see if them things were so if they ain't had access to it? You see how we just slide that in? How do people tell you they ain't had no Bibles or no scrolls at the house? See how they people be lying to you? And we be perpetuating it, though the book saying something different. You gonna go with what the book say, or you gonna go with what the group say? Cause me myself, I'm going through the straight gate, man. I'm gonna go with what the book say. I don't care what everybody else doing, and I don't care what everybody else talking about. Cause I thank you for one thing, man. Before I was even in the word, man, me and my whole team, but we ain't care about doing what everybody else was doing, and we ain't care about fitting in with everybody. I don't care what other people doing. I don't judge my life based off what other men are doing. I don't judge my life based off what other men are saying. I don't care. That don't make sense. You should not be comparing yourself to what other people are doing. Not as no man. Nigga, that junk gay. And I'm talking about not just gay as lame, but gay as homosexual. Because that means you have an improper infatuation and fascination with another man, and that ain't good, son. I'll tell you that right now. You looking at another man, look what he doing. I need to be doing what he doing. Come on, man. The only thing you see another man doing is that should be motivation for you to be the best version of yourself, man. Do you understand that every single solitary day that Yahuwah allows you to be alive as a man, that you should be trying to maximize yourself mentally, spiritually, physically, and financially? To be in the best possible shape that you can be in, to be in the best mental space that you can be in, to be in the strongest spiritual state that you can be in, to be in the best financial position that you can be in, and not just have a couple, but to be the rare man that can be able to put them all together at the same time. meaning operating at your best in every area in your life as a man. You know what I'm saying? And you can't do that if you're comparing yourself to another man. You're already in a lower state because you're looking at another man as being better than you. A man can have more money than you. He could be wicked as hell. A man can have more money than you. He could be a beta male Saint mangina and a straight sucker and a goofy and a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? This man could be physically fit and be a coward. You know what I'm saying? He could be mentally strong but spiritually weak. He could be because if you're spiritually strong, you're going to be mentally strong, but you might not be financially strong, and you might not be physically at your peak. But of all the things that I mentioned, the greatest one to be is to be spiritually strong. The greatest one out of all of them is to be at your spiritual best. That's why Paul wrote, natural or physical exercise profit little compared to godly exercise. That profit in all things. You know what I'm talking about? If you're going to be strong in any area, be strong spiritually. You know what I'm talking about? Now, ideally, as a man, you would want to be strong in every area that I just mentioned. But if you couldn't pick but one, well, you better pick that ruach. You understand me? If you can't pick with one, that's the one you better pick. I finished Revelation. Come on back to Ezekiel chapter 1. Amen, bro. As I say, spiritually strong and mentally strong go hand. See, you can be mentally strong and not spiritually strong, but you can't be spiritually strong and not be mentally strong. You know what I'm saying? And just because you're spiritually strong don't mean that you're going to be financially strong or in tip-top physical condition. You know what I'm saying? Because as far as finances go, that's time and chance. Just to be dead honest with you. No book tell you that. You know what I'm saying? All us not going to be rich. You know what I'm saying? So that just is what it is. Why you doing all that, Joanne? What was that in Ezekiel chapter 1? I think I stopped at about verse 16. The appearance of the wheels and their work, like unto, this is Ezekiel 1:16, of the color of beryl. They four had one likeness in their appearance and their work, as it were a wheel in the middle of a wheel. When they went upon their four sides and turned not when they went. As for their rings, they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings full of eyes round about them four. And when the living creatures went, the wheels went by them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Wheresoever the ruach was to go, they went. Till the ruach to go, and the wheels were lifted up over against them for the ruach of the living creature in the wheels. See, that part right there tends to what Paul wrote in Romans 8. Jedediah just say he noticed when he boxed the most physically fit looking men, when they got in the ring, their look didn't match how timid they looked. And that's an aspect, because I remember seeing that just being incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? I noticed it. I've seen it in real life before getting incarcerated, but you see it more so then. Because a lot of people look at people and they think and see a man and he's physically imposing, and you naturally think that just means that he's tough. Oh, leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? Which I know that a lot of men go to jail and work out for that specific purpose, to intimidate people into leaving them alone. I remember a dude I know, he's on death row now. Right before I went to prison, you know what I'm saying? I'm in the county waiting to get shipped off. He like, well, you ain't gonna work out before you go? I'm like, work out for what? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I'm not worried about nobody doing nothing to me. And that's ain't even no tough guy stuff. I'm just not, my thought process ain't thinking, oh, I'm going to prison, somebody gonna do something to me. Because I'm going to conduct myself with honor. I'm going to conduct myself in here the same way I conduct myself on the street. I'm not concerned with nobody doing nothing to me, because I mind my business. I leave people alone. You know what I'm talking about? I leave people alone. So that's none of my concern. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to be like, I started working out because my homeboy, who was literally from Jacksonville, you know what I'm saying, was like, man, come work out with me. I had been down for damn near 2.5 years before I even thought about doing any exercise whatsoever. The only thing I did was play basketball. Man, they had took the weights out of the penitentiary by the time I started working out. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't work out in the county. I'm like, man, I'm not on that. You know what I'm saying? We did 10 sets of 10. pull-ups and dips, and I say, you know what? This is enjoyable. So I just continue to do it. And I've been doing it for 16 years. You know what I'm saying? But it would never no aspect, oh, I'm big, niggas gonna leave me alone. Like, only people who think like that are men who are cowards, who are trying to use some type of outward intimidation to scare people away from them because they don't want confrontation. So they have to do certain things. That's why I tell you, some people go to jail and they become Christians and they become Muslims. So people will leave them alone. It's for protection, especially when you're dealing in that type of environment. You know what I'm saying? I was cracking joke about it last week, but I'm telling you, it's a different type of environment. You know what I'm saying? And you have to conduct yourself in a particular type of way. And that particular type of way is to be a man. Conduct yourself like a man. Conduct yourself with honor and respect. That's all you got to do. If you conduct yourself as a man, I don't care where you go, you're going to be straight. If you walk around here, you doing feminine stuff and you too engaged and worrying about what other men doing and you speaking on stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you and you worry about stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you and you mingling and mixing and going everywhere, yeah, you're going to find yourself caught up in the mix, man. You're going to have you some problems. You know what I'm saying? If you're rude and you're disrespectful, if you're a dishonorable individual, you're not going to last long, whether you is incarcerated or whether you on the street, because you're not a man of honor. Unfortunately, a lot of young men, you're not raised to be honorable. So man, look at, man, this dude was on this screen last night going on about this one here, man. And I done heard a couple of these red pill niggas say it. That's why I don't respect none of these niggas, man. I done heard these dudes say it's cool to lie to a woman. You ain't got to tell the truth to a woman. What type of man are you? What type of man are you that you think it's cool to look a woman in the face and lie to her, but you say you'll tell the truth to your homeboy? That make me believe you possibly could be a homosexual. Because if you're going to be a man of honor, you're going to tell the truth to anybody, regardless of gender. But you think it's cool to lie to a woman so you can get some vagina? You's a weirdo. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget the line 3 Stacks had on the song. He said, man, I bet you ain't never heard of a player with no game. He said, man, I told the truth to get what I want, but shot it with no shame. What's the point of lying? What you lying for? You only lie because you fear something. And I don't fear no woman. So I ain't lying to no woman, man. You know what I'm saying? If she leave, then she leave. Because if the truth made her leave, that means that ain't where she wanted to be. You know what I'm talking about? You lying so you could get somebody to stay under a false pretense of reality that they don't want to be a part of? That's what type of man you want to be known as? Come on, man, that junk ain't cool, my G. That junk's not cool, my G. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done heard dudes say that, man, it's cool to lie to women, man, so you can get some vagina. You are a horrible man. You definitely not a man who I would want to be friends with. Matter of fact, let me not even say friends, brother, because, see, I ain't got friends. I got brothers. You understand what I'm telling you? See, and I was on that before the word. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you say friend, but in reality, if this man around you all the time and you interacting, nigga, that's my brother. What do you mean? See, some people say, I ain't got no friends, because you ain't no friend, nigga. Because if you ain't got no friends, that means you ain't got no brothers. And that means you ain't got no brothers. That means you don't know how to carry yourself as a brother. That means you don't know how to even move in that aspect. You know what I'm talking about? That means you ain't got the type of loyalty, dedication, and commitment to a particular cause that all are united into, boy, and you got that type of love for that man that you got for yourself. That means you a dishonorable man. You less than yesterday's trash. Any man who will flip out on his brothers or on his homeboys is not to be honored nor respected or dealt with. You know what I'm saying? If you could slide your homeboy to another man, you ain't no man. You's a goofy and a buster. You know what I'm talking about? You ought to be killed, because you certainly can't be trusted. You'll turn on your brother and get him killed, get him locked up or something. But that's because you're not honorable. You don't believe in honor. So there's no way. See, if you don't believe in honor, there ain't no way you are God. I can tell you that right now. I can tell you that right now. And I don't care who don't like it. Because if you can switch out on your homeboy, man, you switch out on your people based on how you feel. If you switch out on your homeboy because your feelings hurt, you's a pussy of the highest scorer. You know what I'm talking about? You don't deserve to breathe. But see, a lot of men, you turn your head to this type of stuff, man, and you still congregate and deal with niggas like that. You know what I'm saying? It's certain men. I'm not dealing with no rat. You know what I'm saying? And it's not because of criminal activity. It's because of the dishonor. Because you participated in the activity that you sought to reap the benefits from. And because the consequences of the activity have fallen upon you, In order to save yourself, you dishonored yourself by implicating other people when you could have just took the consequences of the choices that you decided to make. I don't respect that. You're a dishonorable man. I want nothing to do with you. And I look at that in every area of life. If you dishonor yourself for personal gain, you're not a man worthy of being respected. I care not to have you in my presence because I'm not going to be around you because you can't be trusted. You know what I'm saying? That means you'll tear down a whole operation the minute you feel like it's going to threaten your self-interest. And you'll have no regard with the men whom you sat down with and slapped five with and say you loved. And that was your brother, and that was your homeboy, and that was your friend. Men you ate with, men you drank with, men you went through real life situations with. You'll turn on them because it don't serve you no more. But you're not a man. You dishonorable. That's not an Elohim. Yahuwah don't operate like that. Yahusha ain't never turn out. Them boys ain't switch. You know what I'm saying? Dudes switching up. Man, if you trash your homeboy to another man, especially if you trash him to another woman, man, and you ain't looked that man in his eyes and told him that yourself, you's a coward. And you're a dishonorable bastard. You know what I'm saying? And I hope a man find you somewhere and slap you with his penis and kick you in your butthole till it bleeds. Because that's all you worth. You know what I'm talking about? That's all you worth. You disgust me. You know what I'm saying? And as a man, that type of behavior ought to disgust you. If you look at a man and say, that's your brother. If you done had a man come in your house and you done sat down with him and you done ate at each other's table. You know what I'm saying? If you done experienced real life thing, man, and you done came through in the club, that's your brother, man. How you turn on your brother? That's like turning on, because as far as I'm concerned, we ain't got to be blood to be brothers. You gonna turn on your own blood brother too? That means you're turned on the Lord, man. That's what that tell me. Because if you do it unto me, you're going to do it to him. We don't even have that type of thought process. If that man will turn on you and both of y'all supposed to be in the word, he going to turn on the Lord. How you going to respect that and watch and be around that, man, and condone that? That means he was one of them people out there talking about crucifying. We ain't got no king but Caesar. That's what type of man that is, man. You know? Take with it and do what you want to with it, boy. But I meant that. And if you felt like I was talking about you, then I was, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Because I ain't had nobody in mind. I just had behavior. You know what I'm talking about? But if you feel like I was, yeah, I'm talking about you, nigga. And if you got a problem with it, you come holler at me and I tell it to you to your face. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the problem. We condone dishonorable behavior. The same way ladies know that this woman is out here popping her thought pocket to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who come across the city, and you don't say nothing instead of telling her, baby, stop dishonoring yourself. You know what I'm talking about? Like there has to come a point where you got to look each other in the face and say, stop dishonoring yourself. Ezekiel chapter 1, man. Verse 21. But at verse 20, though, wherever the Ruach was to go, they went. Those who are the sons of Elohim are led by the Ruach of Elohim. So you got to understand that. Wherever that man's spirit take you, that's where you going. You ain't going where you going where he going. Let's continue. Verse 21, Ezekiel 1. When those went, and when those stood. And when those were lifted up from their racks, the wheels were lifted up over against them, and the Ruach of the living creature was in the wheels. And the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creature was the color of terrible crystal, stretched forth over their heads above. And under the firmament, their wings straight, one towards the other. Everyone had two. Covered on this side, everyone had two, which covered that on their body. And just for y'all know, them creatures are the, what's some things called? It's escaping my mind. The cherubims that cover the mercy seat. So those creatures which you're seeing with the four faces and all that, that's the cherubims covering the mercy seat, because what he is seeing is the throne of Yahusha, the throne of the Lamb, coming from Shamahim on the earth. That's what he's seeing. And of course, we're going to went in that a little bit further in just a moment. Verse 24, and when they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, as the voice of the Almighty, the voice of speech as the noise of a host. And when they stood, they let down their wings. And there was a voice from the firmament that over their heads, when they stood, had let down their wings. And above the firmament that over their heads, the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of sapphire stone. And upon the likeness of the throne, the likeness of the appearance of a man above upon it. And I saw the color of amber, the fire, which you could see in Daniel. You know, it said he had fire. Daniel 7. Let me get it for you real quick. I just want to make sure everything click in. We're dealing with the conquering and conquer part. We read Daniel 7 the other day, but I'm just going to come over here for the part with the fire. You know what I'm saying? That's all. 7 and 9. Daniel 7 and 9. I beheld till the thrones were cast down, the Ancient of Days did sit, whose garment white as snow. The hair of his head like the pure wool, in his throne the fiery flame, and wheels burning fire. A fiery stream issued and came forth from before him. Thousands ministered unto him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The judgment was set and the books were open. So you see the fiery throne. You see the same thing here in Ezekiel. Verse 27 again. And I saw as the color of amber, the appearance of fire round about within it, from the appearance of his loins even upward, from the appearance of his loins even downward. I saw as it was the appearance of fire, and had brightness round about. As the appearance of the bow that is in the cloud in the day of rain, so the appearance of the brightness round about. This, the appearance of the likeness of the esteem of Yahuwah. And when I saw, I fell upon my face, and I heard the voice of one that spake. So when we come back to Revelation chapter 6, now I just want to deal with that aspect so you can see his throne and the coming of his throne. And then we're going to go back to Revelation 6 at the top, because we're going to the bottom of Revelation 6. And then we're going to go top of Revelation 6. And then we're just going to look at a few passages of this man coming through and killing all these people. You know what I'm talking about? And not for the aspect of killing all these people, but killing these people to take over what is rightfully his, because the earth and the fullness thereof is Yahuwah's. Let that be known. Revelation chapter 6. That's Hebrews 6. I'm like, that don't say what that's supposed to say. That didn't say it at all. Revelation 6 and 15, I suppose. Well, screw it. I'll work this 6th seal and then with the 1st seal, and we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone, because we don't have to go into great detail about this 6th seal like that. It's not even necessary. And I beheld when he opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. And the stars of Shamahim fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And Shamahim departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. The kings of the earth and the great men and the rich men and the chief captains and the mighty men and every bondman and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him that sit on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come, who shall be able to stand? Verse 1 of the very same chapter. And I saw when the Lamb opened one of the seals, and I heard it as it were the noise of thunder, and one of the 4 beasts saying, come and see. And I behold a white horse, and he that sat on him and had a bow and a crown, and was given unto him. And he went forth conquering and to conquer. Remember, it says he's had that bow in Ezekiel 1, because he got the covenant with him. And he's coming to give a reward to all his saints. Now, of course, what you just seen with that 6th seal, that stuff is enumerated in Isaiah 34 and Isaiah 2. And I guess we can look at it for those of you who are not familiar, because I don't just like to play the scripture matchup, but sometimes you do need to see where some of this stuff comes from. Chapter 34 is no longer in this book. We could get Isaiah 34, Isaiah 63, Jeremiah 25. You know, we go on and on about this man coming through here, tightening these people on up. Let me see what we want. Isaiah 34 and 1 is fine. Come near, you nations, to hear, and hearken, you people. Let the earth hear, and all that is therein, the world, and all the things that come forth of it. For the indignation of Yahuwah upon all nations, and fury upon all their armies. Because remember, he's coming to conquer, conquering and to conquer. Now, I wanted to get to it. We might go get to it this evening, because I'm going to run out of time. But remember, it said that David couldn't build a house for him because he was a what? A bloody man. And of course, you should know from Genesis 49 to Isaiah 63 to what we read in Revelation 19, that this man's clothes is going to be dipped in blood because he is going to be a bloody man. Or even what it said in Isaiah 66:15, that with fire and his sword will Yahuwah plead with all flesh, and the slain of Yahuwah shall be many. Because, or what you can read in Revelation 14 about him treading the winepress of the fierceness of the wrath of the Almighty Elohim. Or what it said in Joel chapter 3 about him treading the grapes. You know what I'm talking about? In the valley of decision. In the valley of decision. You understand? Because if y'all don't know, he came as Solomon the first time, but he coming back as David. He didn't come as a bloody man the first time. He came as a man of peace. He coming back as a man of war. He coming back as David this time. He coming to shed blood. And he's coming to be covered in blood. He coming to be covered in blood, which is why his Abba is going to build New Jerusalem, because he ain't going to be able to build the house of Elohim from New Jerusalem, because he going to be a bloody man, fulfilling the text. See, they don't want to hear that. Y'all don't understand that Yahushua ruled for one day, and then in one day, amen, Brother Reynolds, and then in one day, New Jerusalem come down from Shamahim in the house of his Elohim, like he said in Revelation 3:12. Yahushua can't build that house. He going to be a bloody man. Didn't he tell David he couldn't build a house to him because he was a bloody man? Oh, man. Come on, man. Amen, Mother Shalom. Verse 2, Isaiah 34. For the indignation of Yahuwah upon all nations is a fury upon all their armies. He have utterly destroyed them. He have delivered them to the slaughter. Their slain also shall be cast out, and their stink shall come up out of their carcasses, and the mountain shall be melted with their blood. And the host of Shamahim shall be dissolved, and Shamahim shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their hosts shall fall down as a leaf from the vine, as a falling from the fig tree. For the sword shall be bathed in Shamahim, and behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, upon the people of my curse, to judgment. See how Edom come into play, and that's where the beast coming from, and why you think he bathing his sword in Idumea. Why you think it talking? Y'all, if you ever could see, everybody want to tell you, he coming to kill Edom because it's the white man, and you ain't understanding he coming to see Edom because that's where the man of sin coming from. So he coming to see them first. The sword of Yahuwah is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of kidneys and of rams. For Yahuwah have a sacrifice in Bozrah, a great slaughter in the land of Idumea. And the unicorn shall come down with them, and the bullocks with the bulls, and their land shall be soaked with blood, and the dust made fat with fatness, for the day of Yahuwah's vengeance, the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. And the streams thereof shall be turned into pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone, and the land thereof shall become a burning pitch. It shall not be quenched night nor day. The smoke thereof shall go up forever. From generation to generation it shall lie waste, and none shall pass through it forever and ever. Man, say he gonna come through and kill all these people, man. No. We get Isaiah 63 on general principle. What you asking about, man? I technically got 8 minutes. Isaiah 63 and 1. Who this that come from Edom with dyed garments from Bozrah, that esteem it as apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength, I that speak righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore, red in your apparel and your garments like him that tread in the wine fat. I have trodden the wine press alone, and of the people none with me. For I will tread them in anger, I will trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment, for the day of vengeance in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and none to help, and I wondered, and none to uphold. Therefore my own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. You know what I'm talking about? Well, no, it's not that Esau, the people, is that little horn, but that the beast is that little horn. And from what we can see in the text, that man will be an Edomite. But it's not representative of Edom as a whole, if you would. You know what I'm talking about? It's representative of that one particular gentleman who will be a wicked and deceitful bastard, to say the least. Baby Joel. Let's look at Isaiah chapter 2. Are you liking me with that? Thank you. Would you like to go now? Isaiah 2. You can look at, no, we don't look at all that. I got to get ready to get y'all on out of here. 2 and 10, man. Enters into the rock and hides you in the dust for the fear of Yahuwah and the esteem of his majesty. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. For the day of Yahuwah of hosts upon every proud and lofty, upon every lifted up, he shall be brought low, and upon all the cedars of Lebanon high lifted up, upon all the oaks of Bashan, upon all the high mountains, and upon the hills lifted up. Upon every high tower and upon every fence wall, and upon all the ships of Tarshish, and upon all the pleasant pictures. The loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the haughtiness of man shall be made low, and Yahuwah alone shall be exalted in that day. And the idols he shall utterly abolish. And they shall go into the holes of the rocks, into the caves of the earth, for the fear of Yahuwah and for the esteem of his majesty, when he arise to shake terribly the earth. And in that day man shall cast his idols of silver and his idols of gold, which they made for himself to worship, to the moles and to the bats, to go into the clefts of the rocks and to the top of the ragged rocks, for the fear of Yahuwah and for the esteem of his majesty, when he arrives to shake terribly the earth. So, of course, you can see that in Haggai chapter 2. You can see that in Matthew 24. And like I say, the whole story of David, which we don't really have time to go into immense detail based on what we're dealing with, because that's a whole nother journey, and just dealing with that aspect of him coming in a white horse, conquering and conquer. So, of course, David, you don't see David on a white horse per se. But David's whole life was about conquering and conquer. Conquered lands to expand the kingdom of Yahuwah. But I will lead us with David's words in 1 Chronicles 29. I will do that. No, when they say the clefts of the rocks, it's going into what's in that Revelation 6. When that sixth seal is open, when the Shamahims get rolled up, that these men will go seek for the rocks, and they're asking for the rocks to cover them, to hide them from the wrath of Yahushua, because now their time has come. Now the time has come for them to receive the recompense for their ungodly deeds, their ungodly speeches, and all the other ungodly things that they have committed, and blaspheming this man's name and rejecting and defiling his covenant upon the whole earth. Now it's time. And now they don't want to see him because it's time. You know what I mean? 1 Chronicles 29 and 10. And a lot of times literal rocks, bro, literal rocks. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to get rid of their idols now. It's too late. He don't want to talk. It's too late. Now they talking about hide me. And ain't no hiding, nigga. Come on out and see me. That's how these people gonna be when he pop up, man. They gonna be like, oh, we need to hide. No, he said, ain't no hiding, bro. Ain't no hiding. You wasn't hiding before you seen me. Why you want to hide now? Because now the power is real. The vengeance is here. The recompense is upon you. Now, of course, all these seals, like we talking about, seals are just revealing what's going to happen in the end. That's why he say, keep it sealed to the time of the end. So when Mashiach died and resurrected from the dead, that's beginning the time of the end. He could unloose the seals of the book to show you what's going to happen, which is really enumerating into a lot of things that Daniel was shown. Like, this is what's going to happen. This is how it's going down. Because Daniel got to see something that the other prophets didn't get to see. Daniel got to see Mashiach, what Mashiach was coming for, what was going to happen to the children of Yasharal at the end, and then how Mashiach was going to smash these people at the end. Everybody, all the prophets ain't get to see that. Jedediah said that reminds him of how these billionaires are building these lavish underground homes, extremely lavish with no sunlight or sky. Yeah, a lot of them, because, see, let me tell you something, man. And I know a lot of people like to say they want to talk about aliens and all this stuff. And let me tell you something, right? About a Satanist. Because we like to talk about Satanists and Illuminati and all this other type of stuff. You understand what I'm telling you? For somebody to be a Satanist, to acknowledge Satan is to acknowledge Yahuwah. You can't be a Satanist and not acknowledge Yahuwah. Because Satan is an adversary. And what is he an adversary to? All things that are just, all things that are Kadash, and all things that are of Elohim. So anyone who is a Satanist understands. See, a Satanist is not saying that Yahuwah doesn't exist. That's what an atheist does. A Satanist knows full well Yahuwah exists. And he is convincing men to come on his side to gather up to battle against the living Elohim. See, we got the whole game twisted, my G. See, you think these people on another type of deal, they're recruiting people to fight the Lord. You understand me? They're recruiting people that when the time comes, that they'll tell on you because you serve you so you can be killed. And you run around, man, damn an Illuminati and them goofy niggas. Why we spend time talking about famous niggas' fault? And you know what the crazy part is? And this is why I say this here, man. Real talk, that's why I say this here. Why we spending all this time talking about famous niggas and this, that, there, and the third? Sinners appeal to sinners. So let me tell you something, man. If somebody is swayed by Jay-Z, the word ain't gonna do nothing for him. Because he already got a problem. Because he's basing his life off of another man. Let me tell you something, man. Dame said this, and this real deal talk, man. If you're trying to emulate another man and concern what another man is doing, then why wouldn't your woman just be with this man who you trying to be? Who you trying to pattern yourself after? If you ain't trying to pattern yourself after the Lord, you got a serious problem. If you trying to pattern yourself after a man and that man ain't your daddy or your granddaddy, hell, at least your uncle. Come on, man. Come on, man. Think about that, man. As a grown man, why you trying to pattern yourself after another man? And that man name ain't Yahusha, or that man ain't your daddy or your granddaddy. Why are you trying to do that? That don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? That don't even make sense. So you would have to understand something, right? If we say we saints and we got to talk to other saints about not being influenced by entertainers, then you ain't no saint. I hate to break the news to you. You ain't no saint. I'm going to be honest with you. Most people, especially when you're young, you come in the word and you come in the word with the Illuminati stuff with it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they Satan worshipers. They this, that, there, and the third. At the end of the day, they're idolaters. And they do what idolaters do. So how about you just tear down their idols and keep it moving? Because if a nigga going to be influenced by a song, he got bigger problems. I listened to a lot of records when I was young. None of them records made me want to sell no dope. I never heard a song that said, yeah, I want to be a drug dealer. You got to be the lamest, I'm talking about, what's what I'm looking for? Easily influenced, impressionable individual that a record could make you make detrimental life decisions. I ain't never heard a song be like, I'm going to kill me a nigga. Because I'll be honest with you, every killer I ever been in contact with, boy, a song ain't make him kill. That was already in him. You know what I'm saying? I'm be honest with you. Most men who real killers, they ain't got to get on no drugs and they ain't got to put on no song to get them hyped up to go kill a man. You know what I'm talking about? Most of them want to ride in silence. They don't want to hear none of that stuff. They don't need no extra battery in their back. That's what type of time they on. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I can listen. Man, I sold crack listening to Nita Baker every day. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to put on something. I want to hear Dope Boys in the Trap. I will fly by playing in the rapture of love and pop this junkie off and go pop another one off. No damn song make a nigga sell no dope. If you a woman and a song make you feel like you need to go pop your coochie and go have sex with random men, you got other issues going on. You know what? We see the memes about it and we could crack jokes about it, but we the only group of people be like, yeah, man, you know, I go to work, but I sell drugs in my head when I listen to a song. Not understanding, do you understand what type of we take somebody's reality and make it our entertainment. But if you ain't never been in that reality, man, that's something different, man. You know what I'm saying? I know people make the drug dealing life and the street life sound cool. Man, most people who in that jump, man, they miserable. Then you got some who love it. And the reason why I say most of them are miserable, because most of them ain't making no money. Most people who sell dope ain't making no real money. Most of you niggas who work a regular job make more money than the average dude who sell dope. He may get his money. See, this is what we look at, right? how much money you got or how fast it comes, and you don't look at how much stays. If you made $100,000, but $70,000 of it was overhead, then you really only got 30. You made 100, but you only got 30. But if you went to work and you made 60,000, and after taxes you got 55, then you got more money than the man who made 100,000. But you don't look at it like that, because we live in a doggone life that you comparing your life to other people, and that's a feminine attribute. Grown men ain't got no business doing that. The only person you should be comparing your life to is your Lord and Savior, Yahushua HaMashiach, and that's it. Like Paul wrote, man, you got to examine yourselves whether you be in the faith or not. That's the only person you need to be comparing yourself to. You don't need to be comparing your life to no other man. That's being envious of other people. That's a contradiction and violation of the word in and of itself. Because when you're comparing your life, that means you're envious and jealous of what somebody else got going on. How can you ever be content and satisfied with what Yahuwah giving you, and you worry about what somebody else got and what they doing? Nigga, you lame as hell. First Chronicles 29:10. Wherefore David Baruch Yahuwah, and before all the congregation, and David said, Baruch you, Yahuwah Elohim Yasharal Abba, forever and ever. Thine, O Yahuwah, the greatness, and the power, and the esteem, and the victory, and the majesty, for all in Shamahim and in the Iraqs. Thine the kingdom, O Yahuwah, and you are exalted as head above all. Both riches and honor of you, and you reign over all. And in your hand, power and might. And in your hand to make great and to give strength unto all. Now, therefore, our Elohim, we thank you and praise your esteemed name. But who I? What? My people, that we should be able to offer so willingly after this sort, for all things of you and of your own have we given you. For we, strangers before you and sojourners, all our fathers, our days on the earth as a shadow and none abiding. O Yahuwah Elohim, all this store we have prepared to build you a house for your Kadash name come of your own hand and all your own. I know also, my Elohim, that you try the heart and have pleasure in uprightness. As for me, in the uprightness of my heart, I have willingly offered all these things. And now I have seen with joy your people, which are present here, to offer willingly unto you. O Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and of Yasharal, our fathers, keep this forever in the imagination of the thoughts of the heart of your people, and prepare their heart unto you. And give unto Solomon, my son, a perfect heart to keep your instructions, your testimonies, and your statutes, to do all and to build the palace for which I have made provision. Now, of course, I just kept on going, but verse 12 is what we needed. But of course, we could talk about that. See, the things that we can go over by the grace of Elohim. You know what I'm talking about? Because even the provision that David made for the building of the house is, amen, is symbolic of the provision that Yahushua made for the building of the house and him offering his life. You know what I'm saying? And it just gives us another aspect of it. But we'll start right there, man. We knocked out CO1 and CO6. So hallelujah for Yahushua in the word, man. I appreciate y'all time this evening to bless out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? Just continue to be faithful and stand firm on the rock. Let your salvation of Yahuwah always be in your heart and your mind. Hold fast to the words of his promise. He won't let you down. You know what I'm saying? He come through in the clutch. You know what I'm saying? Every single solitary time. Amen, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what the day is, boo? 23rd, something like that. 22nd. Shoot, 23rd. Shoot, praise Yahuwah, man. You know what I'm talking about? So, you said 22nd?
Yes.
So, we what? We are what? About a week and a half. About a week and a half. We're going to get ready and have our observation of Passover and then an unleavened bread. So, the evening of April the 2nd, 8 o'clock p.m. Shalom, Brother Francis. You know what I'm saying? Trap house going to open up. You did? So, Oh, yes. And we'll say the 26th. All funds are due by the 26th. What day is that? What day of the week is that? That would be Sunday coming. Unless you need time. And if you do need time, praise Yahuwah, Brother Dimitri. If you need time, let me know so that I can communicate that to them. You know what I'm saying? Please. I mean, it is imperative because these ladies have planned this stuff out. They did all this stuff out, you know what I'm saying? This, that, there, and the third. I don't know the specifics of what they got, but I know they got a structure and a plan. And if you need more time, let me know that so that I can relay that to them so that they can move accordingly. It's very, very important that you do that. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very important. Because if not, it could throw off what they got going on. We got 8 days worth of eating to do. You know what I'm saying? And they parsed everything out to make sure that it's enough for everybody, and prayerfully some leftovers that you can continue and indulge yourself if you feeling a little, what's the word I'm looking for? A little gluttonous, a little hungry. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say gluttonous, but hey man, sometimes you want a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? It's a joy of time. You know, eat till you're full. So yeah, 26 Sunday, they need to have that in because then they're gonna be going shopping. You know what I'm saying? That particular week, because you got to remember these ladies are they cooking their food themselves. You know what I'm saying? So they got to make sure they got everything in line. And also, if you believe that you won't be able to make the Passover because of reason of uncleanliness, and you desire to do the second Passover, you need to let me know that so that I can make proper preparations so that we can have the wine and the bread available and so that service can be executed for that particular day. But that's if you planning on coming in person. You know what I'm saying? If you're not planning on coming in person, then I can't do no second Passover for you. You know what I'm saying? Not to say that you can't do the Passover at your house, but you know what I'm saying? But if you're planning on coming in person to take it, and you know that you're not going to be able to take it, then you need to let me know that if you planning on coming on May the 2nd, so that we can do second Passover, get that squared away for you. Because if we're going to do it, then I'm going to have service. So I need to know that. You know what I'm saying? And there's that. So appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Yahuwah willing, man. You know what I'm saying? We'll be back at it on Shabbat, man. Blessings out the house of Elohim in the name of Yahushua, man. Keep your faith up, your mind tight, you know what I'm saying, and your spirit right. And Yahuwah willing, to the next one. All right, Clubhouse, man. If y'all ain't got